So as you know that I have started the chapter chemical coordination and integration, and today I will continue this chapter with the parathyroid gland. So up to the thyroid gland I have discussed in my previous class, and today I will start another important gland, that is parathyroid gland. And I have told you that from this gland you have to know about the location, hormone and the function. Okay, so first we have to know the location, hormone, function. Okay, so first one is that thyroid, parathyroid gland, location of the parathyroid gland. And what is the number of parathyroid gland? The number of parathyroid gland is 4. So if you see the diagram from the page number 333, you will be able to find the parathyroid gland. It is present on the back side of the thyroid gland. 4 small oval shaped structure. Now if this one is the thyroid gland, so on the back side of the thyroid gland, these 4 oval shaped parathyroid glands are present. Okay, so one pair will be in one lobe and the another pair will be another lobe. Okay, so that means one pair in each lobe. So the total number is 4. Now what is name the hormone which is secreted from the parathyroid gland? So the hormone which will be secreted from the parathyroid gland is considered as parathyroid hormone, or in short we can write PTH. Okay, so what is the full form of PTH? Parathyroid hormone. Okay, now next part is that function. So what is the function of that parathyroid hormone or PTH? That the secretion of PTH is regulating by the circulating levels of calcium ion, and this level, the secretion of the PTH also dependent on the level of the calcium. Okay, now parathyroid hormone increases the calcium level in the blood. So first function of the parathyroid hormone is it helps in the increase in the calcium level in the blood. And second one is parathyroid hormone acts on bone and the stimulates the process of bone formation, resorption. Okay, so that means demineralization or dissolution. This is the meaning of resorption. So two functions are there. Third one is that parathyroid hormone stimulates the Ca2 plus reabsorption by renal tubules and increase Ca2 plus absorption from the digested food. Okay, so from this it is clear that parathyroid hormone or PTH is hypercalcemic hormone. So we have to write one thing, hypercalcemic hormone. So parathyroid hormone is considered as hypercalcemic hormone, and that means what is the meaning of this term hypercalcemic hormone? That means that it increases the blood calcium level along with TCT. Can you remember what is the full form of TCT? So in my previous class I have discussed about the TCT when I was discussed about the thyroid gland, that is the thyrocalcitonin. And thyrocalcitonin also has role in the regulation of blood calcium level. So PTH is a hypercalcemic hormone. That means that it increases the blood calcium level. It will increase the calcium level in the blood. Along with TCT, it plays a significant role in the calcium balance in the body. So we can see that PTH, that means parathyroid hormone, and TCT, thyrocalcitonin, both are having role in the calcium regulation of the calcium level. So one will increase and the another will help to maintain the balance. So these PTH and TCT togetherly they will function to maintain the calcium level. Okay, so what are the main functions of parathyroid hormone? First one is it increases the calcium level in the blood, and it acts on the bone and stimulates the process of bone resorption. and it also stimulates the reabsorption of calcium by renal tubules and increases the Ca2 plus absorption from the digested food. Okay, so this is all about the parathyroid gland. Clear? Next gland is thymus gland. Next one is thymus. So what is the structure of the thymus gland? It is a lobular structure. So let me write the same points again, that location, hormone and its function. All these we have to mention. So first one is that thymus gland is a lobular structure and it is located on the dorsal side of the heart and the aorta. You know the position of the heart and you also know that where aorta is present. So this thymus gland is present on the dorsal side of the heart and aorta. Okay, now you have to know that which name of the hormone which is released from the thymus gland, and the name of the hormone is thymosins. Okay, so it is the name of the hormone thymosins which is released from the thymus gland, and the last important part is function of this hormone. So thymus gland has a major role in the development of the immune system. It helps in the immunity. Okay, and as I have mentioned that you have to remember that which type of hormone it is. Hormone may be amino derivative, it is peptide, or it is steroid, like that. So it is written already in the book. You can make a chart like one column for peptide hormone, one column for steroid hormone. So you can write the different types, and in that particular columns you can write down the example of the hormones or name of the hormones. So at the time of examination it will help you, because it is not possible you will read once and you will be able to remember all this. Okay, so it will be better if you make a column and you can write it down, and it will help you at the time of examination, and you will be able to remember all the type of the hormone. Okay, so let me tell you, thymosin is a peptide hormone. So it is peptide in nature. Thymosin is the peptide hormone, that means it is peptide in nature. Now what I have mentioned, that thymus plays major role in the development of immune system, and how it releases a peptide hormone name is thymosins. Okay, and how it is providing role in the immune system in our body. For our immunity system, two types of system can be there. One is considered as cell mediated and immunity, another is considered as humoral immunity. Okay, so these, just a minute. So this thymosin has a major role in differentiation of the T lymphocyte. So what type of immunity? Cell mediated and humoral. And already you have read about the lymphocytes. So in response to the immune system, two types of lymphocytes are there, T lymphocytes and B lymphocytes, and these two lymphocytes are related to these two type of immunity. So T lymphocytes are related to the cell mediated immunity, and thymosin has major role in the differentiation of the T lymphocyte. Okay, so first role is that thymosin plays major role in the differentiation of the T lymphocytes, and T lymphocytes are related to the cell mediated immunity. Okay, and with that, in addition to thymosin, it also promotes the production of the antibody. It also promotes the production of the antibodies to provide another type of immunity, which is called as humoral immunity. Okay, So when it is related to the antibody, it will come under the humoral immunity. This is the way by which thymosins are playing main role in maintaining the immunity in our body. And another thing you have to remember that when a person is getting old, this thymus gland become degenerating. Okay, so thymus is degenerated in old individuals, so that is why the old people suffer more, because their immunity will be less due to the degeneration of the thymus gland. That means the hormone thymosin, production of the hormone thymosin will be very less, and for this reason that thymus is degenerated in the old individuals, resulting in the decreased production of the thymosin, and as a result of the decreased production of the thyrosin, immune responses of old person becomes weak. Okay, so in my previous class I have discussed another gland which starts degenerating after the near about 10 years of age, that was the pineal gland, and it is also called as brain sand. Okay, because it looks like a small sand, and this is the another gland which is degenerating in the old age person. Okay, so this is all about the thymus gland. Next one I will discuss about the pancreas. As already you have read that glands are mainly some types: exocrine, endocrine and mixed. From the exocrine, hormones can be released. From the exocrine enzymes can be released. From the endocrine, hormone, and some heterocrine and mixed glands are there, from which both hormones and enzymes can be released, and pancreas is one of them. Okay, so first we have to know the position, and after that you have to know the hormone and function. So first you have to know So pancreas is a composite gland which acts as both exocrine and endocrine, and so we are reading about the endocrine gland. So now we will discuss about the endocrine nature of the pancreas. Okay, so endocrine pancreas consists of some cells which are considered as islets of Langerhans. Islets of Langerhans. Okay, so from the endocrine part we can get islets of Langerhans, and there are about 1 to 2 million islets of Langerhans in a normal human pancreas, resulting only 1 to 2% of the pancreatic tissue. Okay, and in these islets of Langerhans we can find some type of cells. What are they? Alpha cell, beta cell and delta cell, and from these three types of cells different hormones will be released. So we have to know that from these three types of cell which type of hormones will be released. So from the alpha cell, hormone glucagon will be released. So from the alpha cell, glucagon will be released. From the beta cell, insulin will be released, and from the delta cell, somatostatin. Okay, these are the different types of hormones which can be released from the alpha cell, beta cell and delta cell of pancreas. Okay. Now, glucagon is a peptide hormone, and it plays a great role in maintaining the glucose balance in our body. So glucagon is which type of hormone? Glucagon is a peptide hormone, and what is the role? It helps in the glycogenolysis, that means helps in the breakdown of the glycogen to glucose. Okay. So glucagon is a peptide hormone, and it plays important role in maintaining the normal glucose level. Glucagon mainly acts on the liver cells the liver cells are considered as hepatocytes and stimulates glycogenolysis resulting in the increased blood sugar. Okay, and the condition of increased blood sugar is called as hyperglycemia. Okay, and in addition to that, this hormone also stimulates the process of gluconeogenesis, which also contributes the hyperglycemia. Okay, and it has another role, that is that it reduces the cellular glucose uptake and utilization. So glucagon is a hyperglycemic hormone. So what is the glucagon? Hyperglycemic hormone. So this is the important part you have to remember, that which hormone is considered as hyperglycemic hormone. So the answer will be glucagon is considered as hyperglycemic hormone. Okay. Now come to the next part, that is the beta cell. So from the beta cell, insulin hormone has been released, and insulin also a peptide hormone. Okay, glucagon is a peptide hormone and again insulin is a peptide hormone, and it helps in the regulation of the glucose homeostasis, and it also, like glucagon, insulin also has main role in the hepatocytes and adipocytes. That means you know the cell of the adipose are considered as adipocytes and the cells of the liver is considered as hepatocytes. Okay. So, and it enhances the cellular glucose uptake and utilization. So, as a result, there is rapid movement of glucose from the blood to hepatocytes and adipocytes, resulting in the decreased blood glucose level, and this condition is considered as hypoglycemia. So, as you know that hypo means less and hyper means high. So, when the glucagon in the blood glucose level is increasing, this condition is considered as hyperglycemia, and this is done by the glucagon which is released from the alpha cell. And the another hormone which is playing role as hypoglycemia, that means it will help to convert the it will pass the glucose from the blood to the liver cells. Okay, so they act antagonist, they are working opposite to each other. So that is why it is also helps called as hypoglycemic hormone, and it also stimulates conversion of glucose to glycogen. Conversion of glucose to glycogen is termed as glycogenesis. Okay, and conversion of glycogen to glucose is considered as glycogenolysis. Okay, you have to remember these two terms also, glycogenolysis and glycogenesis. One is conversion of glucose to glycogen and another is conversion of glycogen to glucose. Okay, so insulin will help to convert the glucose into glycogen, and glucagon will convert to glycogen to glucose. So that is why it is called as they act antagonist to each other. Okay, so the glucose homeostasis is maintained. Okay, so whenever the amount of glucose will be high in the blood, one hormone will act, and if the amount of glucose is less in the blood, then the another hormone will help to break down of the glucose and will pass the glucose into the blood. So from this you can understand that these two hormones are playing main role in maintaining the glucose balance in our body. Okay, so these two are working jointly, this insulin and glucagon. So another abnormality or disease is very important which is related to pancreas, which is considered as diabetes mellitus. Okay, I have discussed about the diabetes insipidus when I was discussing the ADH. So another diabetes is there, that is diabetes mellitus. So prolonged hyperglycemia leads to a complex disorder. If prolonged hyperglycemia is there, then a condition will be there which is called as diabetes mellitus, and it is associated with the loss of glucose through urine and formation of harmful compounds which is known as ketone body. So in this particular disease or disorder, glucose will be released through the urine. Okay, and the diabetic patients are successfully treated with insulin therapy. If this condition occurs, then we have to provide the insulin for to the patient, because as you know that insulin has a role in maintaining the blood glucose level. Okay, so this is all about the pancreas gland. So for today that's it. In my next class I will discuss about the another 3 endocrine gland. Okay, so thank you and bye bye everyone.